Hello, my name is Mr. Chon. You're welcome to my study room. Let's quickly take this question. The A part says that two regular polygons P and Q are such that the number of sides of P is twice the number of sides of Q. The difference between the exterior angle of Q and P is 45 degrees. Find the number of sides of P. As always, to be able to solve this question, we should first identify the key facts or the important point from the problem. And the first thing I would like us to pay attention to is the fact that the number of sides of P is twice the number of sides of Q. And also the difference between the exterior angle of P and Q is 45 degrees. That's a very important point. And then the last point I would like us to look at is what we are solving for, the number of sides of P. Let's solve the question in details now. But even before we do that, remember that the problem says that the polygons are regular polygons. So that is where I'll be starting from. Just as a reminder that regular polygons have equal angles and size. Let's note that before we move on. So we start right with the first thing underlined, the number of sides. And we'll combine that with the relationship between the two, because the problem says that the number of sides of P is twice the number of sides of Q. So that means that if the number of sides of Q is n, then the number of sides of P will be 2n. Let me just write that quickly. Good. After showing that, now we go to the difference between the exterior angle of Q and P. And by that, we have to refresh our mind on the formula for the exterior angle of a regular polygon. And if you remember that, what do you think it is? Yeah, I'm sure you are saying 360 divided by the number of sides, or 360 degrees divided by the number of sides. That is good. So we'll write that for each of them. If you are using 360 divided by the number of sides, then it means that the exterior angle of Q will be equal to 360 degrees divided by the number of sides of Q, which is n. And then that of P will be 360 degrees divided by the number of sides of P, which is 2n. This can be simplified as the 2 divides the 360 as 180 degrees over n. Okay. And remember that the exterior angle we are talking about here is singular. Each exterior angle, that's what we mean, not the sum of exterior angles, but each exterior angle. The sum of exterior angles of a regular polygon is 360 degrees. But if you want the size of each of them, then we have to divide 360 degrees by the number of sides, because remember that a regular polygon has equal angles. Now that we've shown what the exterior angle of each of them is, let's go back to the difference. We know that difference means subtraction, right? Good. So the question says that the difference between the exterior angle of Q and P is 45 degrees. So let us not even stretch it. Difference simply means that the bigger one minus the smaller one. That is what difference means. And if 360 is being divided by a number and 180 is being divided by the same number, I'm sure we all agree that the answer for the 360 will be bigger than that of the 180. So the difference is going to be 360 over n minus 180 over n. And the question said that that equals 45. That is here. So that is just what we are doing. And then simplifying further, they have the same denominator. So 360 minus 180 all over n is going to be 45. And multiplying both sides by n, we are going to have 360 minus 180 is 180. And that will be equal to 45. And remember, we are multiplying both sides by n. and dividing both sides by 45, n will be equal to 4. And the question wants us to find the number of sides of p. So remember that this is the number of sides of p, right? 2n. So wherever we see and we put 4 there, so that means that p has 2 times 4, which equals 8 sides. So the polygon P has 8 sides. Let's now solve the B part, which says that the area of a semicircle is 32 pi centimeters squared. Find in terms of pi the circumference of the semicircle. Again, we'll start by underlining the key fact that the area of a semicircle, that is a very important point, is 32 pi centimeters squared. And now we are finding in terms of pi, that's a very important information, the circumference of the semicircle. Okay, now I would like to start right from what we are solving for, which is the circumference of the semicircle. We start by stating the formula for the circumference of a semicircle, right? I'm sure you all know that a semicircle is a half of a circle or a full circle, right? So the formula for the circumference of a semicircle is simply going to be half of the formula for the circumference of a full circle. So that would just be the formula for the circumference of a circle divided by 2. And what is the formula for the circumference of a circle? I'm sure you are telling me that that is 2 pi r, right? And if that is 2 pi r, then half of that is just going to be, let me write that properly, circumference of a full circle divided by 2. And that will give us pi r, right? Good. So what we simply need is the radius of the circle to be able to find the circumference. But clearly the radius of the circle is not given in the problem. And as I normally say in my videos, in math, we use what we've been given, or we start with what we've been given, right? So we've been given 32 pi centimeters squared as the area of the circle, and we never use that for anything. But we need to use what we've been given to find what we want. So we are going back to the area of a circle so that we can use the 32 to find the radius of the circle. Then after that, we use that again to find the circumference. So we start right with the area of a circle, which is pi r squared. But because we are solving for the area of a semicircle, it means that will be divided by 2, because semicircle is half of a circle, right? Good. And the question says that equals 32 pi, right? So simplifying this, we're going to multiply both sides by 2, and these ones go away. So we have pi r squared to be equal to 64 pi, right? Both sides have pi, so the pi's cancel out, or dividing both sides by pi, we're going to have r squared to be equal to 64. And how do we undo the square? We're solving for r and not r squared. So to undo the square, we need to take the square root of both sides, right? Good. So this and this cancel out, and we have the radius of the circle to be square root of 64 is 8 units. And the unit in this case is centimeters. And now that we know the radius of the circle, we can now go back and find the circumference of the semicircle. Don't forget that we have the formula here. So this means that the circumference of our semicircle is 8 pi centimeters. As simple as that, because the question said, remember I underlined it, the question said we should find the circumference in terms of pi. In terms of pi, that means we should have pi in our answer. and the radius is 8. So substituting 8 for the r, we are going to have 8 pi centimeters. And this is where we end the study for today. I hope this lesson has been of help to you. If yes, then why not consider subscribing to this channel for more videos like this. Till we meet again. Bye-bye.